Hey there, thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Spiritual Scientist. I'm Victor. Thanks for checking me out. So, I'm driving to work yet again, and a lot of craziness going on. I'm just going to get right to it. There's huge hurricane. I had a tree fell on my property, hit the back of my house, and I don't think there's a lot of damage because it's just the upper part of the tree, thank God. I had a little Buddha statue underneath the tree, and the little Buddha statue was not hurt at all, which I thought was pretty cool. So definitely feel like somehow protected. I had a sub pump in the basement, and that didn't work. So my basement flooded, but luckily only some rugs got destroyed. And I have to go to work, which is probably all flooded, and it's pretty bad. I'm in the Northeast United States. Anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about me, right? So just to tell you, I was at a couple days ago, I was sitting in someone's car, and they went through the channels on Sirius, and they were like, and it just like spun the dial and landed on Frank Sinatra. So I was like, yeah, Frank Sinatra, I haven't thought about him in a long time. And then I was just thinking, oh no, there isn't a Mandela effect about this, is there? So I don't want there to be a Mandela effect about this, because I like Frank Sinatra. I mean, I'm not a gigantic fan. I don't listen to him all the time, but I haven't listened to him in a long time. So I said, uh-oh. So then the next day, or was 2 days later, I go and TV comes on, and they're saying this whole thing about Frank Sinatra Jr. having been kidnapped, and this whole story. So I'm like, wait a second, who the F is Frank Sinatra Jr.? I know who Nancy Sinatra is. These boots are made for walking. She was like on drugs or something, and everybody was back then, I guess. And she got popular with that one song, and then that was it. Never heard of Frank Sinatra Jr. Frank Sinatra had a son that was into singing. To me, that's crazy. So just thought I'd mention that. And then I thought maybe the Mandela effect is following my train of thought and consciousness and creating, manifesting things. That's one of my theories. And then the snakehead, these fish, invasive species, which are snakeheads, are in the lakes, and they're invasive species. I heard about these years and years ago, like a long time ago. They kind of look like they're from China, and all the bad stuff seems to be from China, right? And then what the heck now? I read a report, they're in the Hudson Valley, which is, whatever. But now they're like, yeah, and they can breathe air for 3 days, and they eat mice and fish. So I'm like, what? How can they eat mice and fish and be out of the water for 3 days? It doesn't make any sense. They don't have legs. Never heard about them being on the ground before. And wouldn't just like bears or all different animals just walk up and, like, if they're on the ground, wouldn't they just eat them? Like, how do they survive outside? They crawl out of a lake somehow with being a fish, and then they eat mice and then they go back in the water. That's kind of scary and weird and totally weird. Which was already weird before, but now it's like super weird. And what else is going on? There's so many things, right? Anyway, the whole Frank Sinatra Jr. thing, to circle back for a moment, is really weird. And now he had a whole life. He died in 2016. And I think I would have heard about Frank Sinatra having a son named Frank Sinatra Jr. and him having some kind of, I guess he had a singing career. So this seems like a multiverse thingy. And is it my consciousness is pushed a direction towards this, and then like happen? Is it just a simulation, and then whatever I kind of think about a little bit goes haywire? I've been working on that. And by the way, I'm totally anti-cult. I know I mentioned I do distance healing, and then I'm talking about Mandela effects, and I thought it was important for all the people to get together, have some kind of community. I've always thought that, truth or community, but then I'm anti-cult, so I'm like, it's just a whole thing where I always felt like I'm some kind of leader, but I don't want to be any cult leader. I'm really anti-cult, and that's it. I just wanted to put that out there, and I don't want to put myself in any crazy position, but it just seems like this whole Frank Sinatra Jr. thing is kind of wackadaisical and makes absolutely, it's crazy that now he's not even just existed, but that maybe somehow he just manifested because we were thinking about it, or I was thinking about it. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Like, subscribe, share. Have a great day. Bye-bye.